Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 91. How much longer will it take to be a great singer? Welcome to the broadcast. This is a live broadcast from the international headquarters of Power to Sing in the lovely state of Utah in the United States. And normally I do this broadcast earlier in the day, and today, hey Ty, nice to see you. Uh, Just in time, and I have a good question. Awesome, that's great. That's what I'll be addressing questions this evening. But Ty, would you let me know if you can hear me and see me okay right now? I just want to make sure that all is well with the broadcast and that everything is available to everyone. So we're probably going to have a little time here before guests arrive, and it is now the top of the hour. So let me just once again say hi. Welcome to this broadcast. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. This is Power to Sing Live number 91. And our topic today is, well, it's kind of how much longer will it take to be a great singer? And when So the question is, Ty, I'll just ask you a question right off the bat here, is how much longer will it take for you to be a great singer? What do you think? What's your answer to that? Because that's a question that a lot of people have. Well, the first question they have is, well, how long is it going to take me to learn how to sing? And that's a hard question to answer. And maybe even harder is, oh, am I almost there? Am I almost there yet? So anyway, hey, I want to say hi to George. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Uh, Daniela, great to have you here. I can see and hear me. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, George, missed you. I noticed you haven't been around in a while, so nice to have you back. And MJ Hawk, 1987. Hello, I hear you loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you. This is a different time this week. I do it on Tuesdays. Normally, I do it on Tuesday afternoon, at least in the States. In the United States, it's a Tuesday afternoon. And it's a holiday here in the state of Utah, celebrating the arrival of the first pioneer to Utah. The Mormon pioneers arrived on July 24th, 1847. So every year they have a large parade here in the state of Utah. I'm told that it's about the third largest parade in the United States, behind the Rose Bowl and the New York Macy's parade. So don't know if that's still true, but it used to be that. Anyway, big parade here, and I did not go, but a true confession, I completely spaced my broadcast today. It was not on my calendar. You know how things kind of like disappear and you don't know why they disappeared? So anyway, and I thought, well, I'm not going to miss, because I'm, I've been really trying to be very diligent here. I've done over a year's, and I guess we're approaching our second year of regular live broadcast. So this is a chance for us to be able to chat a little bit. Um, so okay, this topic here. Let me just let me just ask you. Do you know how much longer it's going to take for you to arrive to 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 arrive as a singer, to be a great singer? Let me know in the comments. How much time? What do you think? Well, you can just tell me yes or no. Yes, I don't know, or yes, I know, or no, I don't know. Um, there's a lot of questions that it raises, doesn't it? That little question there. So, when I was a young father, and my wife and I had eight, eight children, one marriage, one wife, eight babies. And we actually had a miscarriage amongst all those. So, um, and my oldest is now going to be 38 later this year, and my youngest is 24, just turned 24. So, yes, it makes me ancient, doesn't it? So, I we were driving someplace to yeah, as a family, which we frequently did, different places, and we my kids would always say, "Dad, how much longer is it going to take for us to get there? When will we be there? When will we arrive?" And finally, one time my son said, "Dad, how fast are we going?" So what he'd figured out was he could see the mileage. He knew how much he could see how much further we had to go. And he would ask me how fast we were going, and he would do the math and figure out how much longer it was going to take. So if let's just say it was 60 miles till we reached our destination, and we were going 60 miles per hour, then he could figure it out that, oh, we're going to be there in an hour. And he was that kind of a whiz kid. I mean, he was only 10 years old or so when he started asking those kinds of questions. And anyway, so I wish it was that simple with singing, don't you? So let me say hi to a couple other folks here. Lynn Ko, concert pianist, singer, composer. Hi, Lynn. You don't know. No, it'll be a lifelong journey, MJ Hawk says. Petros, hi, Petros. The orange button for the PDF does not work. Okay, which PDF, Petros, are you trying to download? Because there's several of them. So just which video, which PDF is that? If you'd let me know, I'll try and follow up on that. Okay, so let me just back up because I think I've missed a few folks here. Daniela says, seriously, I feel like it will take way too long. Every time I master something, I have to work on something else. Yeah, if you add one thing and something else enters in. So it's hard to do anything without affecting everything else. How can we work on tone and pitch? Ty asks. Let me come back to some of that. I want to say hello to, let's see, we've got somebody else here. Oh, yeah, thank you about, the miscarriage. Oh my gosh, 8 babies. It was really interesting because my mom had several miscarriages, and I didn't think too much about it. And I'd heard of other people having miscarriages, and I didn't think too much about that. It didn't seem like such a hard thing, but it was surprisingly hard. It was surprisingly emotional, even though it was actually baby number 9 for us. We never had a problem. We'd never had a problem. My wife is amazing. We never ever used anesthesia. She always went Lamaze, natural, and had great pregnancy. So this really caught us off guard and quite a surprise. That took the wind out of our sails. That was it for us. I guess 8 is enough, right? Isn't that a movie? Yes, MJ Hawk, 8. Ty Wilson, 8. What is vocal coaching? What does vocal coaching is, and does every singer have a vocal teacher? I don't. What about it, folks? Do you all have a vocal teacher? Yeah, Lynn says children grow up so early these days. That's really true, isn't it? George, how do you tell if you're a great singer? Good question, George. I think there's always room to improve oneself without the label. Agreed. Hey, Dana, nice to have you with us today. Good to see you. Does every singer take vocal classes? What do you say, you guys? Every singer take vocal classes? Or Petros, PDF and description from this live. Oh, is there an orange button? I'll follow up on that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Um, I won't be able to do it until after the broadcast is over, though. So yes, Lynn, thank you. She is amazing, and thank you. Now this didn't happen recently. We had a miscarriage like oh, it would have been 1994, 5, 6, 7, like 97, something like that. 96, long time ago. Um, okay, Lynn says mine is YouTube. Oh, yeah. So Lynn's comment about teachers is mine is YouTube. And so Ty says no, and I'm trying to get one. Nope, I'm about so MJ Hawks says nothing without I am about to buy lessons from you. Oh, well, awesome. I think you'll find it helpful. So so let me let me ask you guys. I think that one of the challenges that we face as people who are learning to sing and working on our voices is there's not really a clear cut pathway that has been laid out, for us to see. Like when you go into school and they'll say, okay, here's the course outline. We're going to start here. We're going to go through all these different things. These are the first week, second week, third. At the end of week 9, we'll be all the way to this place, and we'll have this many tests, and so on and so on. And by the time you're done, you'll come from point A to point uh, F, and all through there you're going to be educated, and these are going to be the mileposts that are going to be along the way. And so you kind of get this clear idea of what you're going to be studying and what you're going to be learning, and how you can measure yourself and so forth. That's really missing, I think, in singing. Do you agree with that? Are you aware of anything, like some kind of a guide or map of learning how to sing? Let me know, because I'm working on something and I want to talk more about that. Um, so Dana Parker says, I am nervous about doing voice lessons online, but I'd love to work with you, Chuck. Thank you, Dana. That's really nice. Yeah, you never, it's not the end of the world if you work with somebody that you don't really jive with. You might spend a little money, and you never know. I mean, like I might be the most fabulous teacher on earth, but maybe we just don't like get in sync, or it's not for whatever reason doesn't work. I mean, I understand that, and I have students um, who come and go. That's one of the as a teacher, your students will always leave eventually. They will always leave eventually, and it might be years, but eventually they'll leave. And as a teacher, you're kind of your job is to become obsolete, so they don't have to rely on you at least constantly, because they have a foundation that they can use uh, to work with their voices, and they understand what they're doing, and they know how to stay healthy. They know how to sing well, and they know how to meet the demands of their if they're in a professional career as a singer, then they know how to meet those demands and so forth. And then they check back in for tune-ups and things like that. But eventually, every student leaves one way or another. Maybe it's death that or my death or whatever. So George says, I've never had a voice teacher. Most of my experience with various choruses over my years, the director or fellow members in the group help out and support and for improving my vocal improvement. Current director is a teacher director. So hey, hi Lil, jaded jaded bunny. Do you do any vocal rehab? Stress, nerves is ruining my voice. I have done some vocal rehab. So I think probably the first step, little jaded bunny, is to be sure and go to your ENT and make sure there is no vocal damage on the voice, or that you don't have some muscular issues going on with your voice. And kind of get like all clear to go ahead and do some work on rehabilitating the voice. That's my recommendation. It's always comforting to know as a singer what the what the status is of your voice from this perspective of the doctor. They can scope the voice, they can scope your vocal cords and take a look. It doesn't hurt, it's a painless procedure, but they can see your vocal cords, you can play it on video, they can have you vocalize a little bit and watch the action of the vocal cords. And it's so worthwhile to get a checkup like that. Ty says my voice is weird. I have like a high-pitched singing voice naturally, and I'm trying to find my low voice and sing and talk in the same, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so does riffs and runs come naturally? They don't for me, Ty. So let me just anybody have any comment here about like a map, a pathway, to pathway to great singing? Any comments on that? Has anybody ever wanted something like that, or been curious about, well, where am I now, and where am I going with my voice or with the development of my voice? Anybody? Daniela says, I always wonder why famous singers never mention if they've taken singing lessons or not. It makes one think they were born knowing. Kelly Clarkson, for example, was amazing at 19, but how? So that's a good point, Daniela. I know for a fact that like, for example, Barbra Streisand, she wouldn't go to a voice lesson in the studio. She required her teacher, at least one of her teachers, and I don't know how many teachers she had, but I know that Seth Riggs taught her for a period of time. And he had to go to her home. It was up some canyon down in LA someplace. And it's, if you stop to think about it, if you're like a world-class artist, you don't really, I haven't really thought this through, but I can kind of understand them not wanting to create a stir by going out in public and going to a voice teacher, and people hear that and they think, well, is there a problem with your voice? And that kind of thing. So it might raise more questions than it's worth to try and address. But so I think there are quite a few, Daniela, that actually do take voice lessons or have had lessons before, but they don't publicize it for whatever reason. I think, in fact, I've heard Seth Riggs mention Kelly Clarkson before, and I think it may have been a situation where she was there with a friend. I can't remember the precise thing, but a lot of these artists, I think, have had lessons. We know Michael Jackson studied with Seth Riggs, and a lot of other big names. But sometimes people just want to like keep it private for whatever reason. Okay. Lynn Cal says, I've been a voice coach conductor in an opera house for more than 10 years. Now I'm singing myself, but I don't want to be an opera singer. Pop singing with a healthy vibrato would be my goal. Cool. That's really great. You think Beyonce had voice lessons? I know she did. Yeah, her teacher is in LA. I don't know his name, but I've heard Seth Riggs mention that, he knows who her teacher is and so forth. Yeah, she's a great singer, but she has studied. I don't know if she's actively studying right now, but yeah, Len, you're right. Thank you for answering my question. That makes me feel better about myself. Let's see. Yeah. So, all right. So this topic of a roadmap for singing doesn't seem to be gaining any traction this evening. Does anybody have any interest in seeing step-by-step process of this is where this is. Does anyone ever wondered where am I in my are there different stages of progress? Are there different goal guideposts that I can see or kind of grasp a hold of that say, well, this tells me I'm this far along, and this tells me that I'm this far along, and so forth. Now, George mentioned it's kind of a lifelong thing, and I agree with that. But I personally think there are some things that are definite elements of singing that could be, like specific parts of a map or of a success path, so to speak. Oh, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I try and get all of the. Lynn says, I think it's amazing you're trying to take the time to answer all our questions, and I want to do that. So Daniela says, I am interested. You're talking about interested in the map, so to speak, or a success path. Jayhawk says, being able to have full control of my adult voice is a goal. That's an interesting thing. An element of control could be a part of the goal and the guidepost that you realize you've reached kind of a certain point if you have that control. Okay, Lynn says yes. I wonder every day. Yes, yes. Okay. I'm interested in seeing your path. So it's not absolutely fleshed out, but there we go. Singer's Impact. That's going to be a name that you'll hear more of, but it's a success path. So Daniela says, the map or success path, it seems there is no way to measure progress out there. Ty says, I feel like I need to know my voice and understand it more. Yes, what are the signs of progress? I wonder. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for that feedback. I know there have been times that I've wondered, what am I doing and how much further do I have to go? And, what am I learning here? And, it all seemed kind of, especially when I was newer. So I'm kind of working on this success path. What does it take to develop a successful singing voice? And that I'm trying to identify different stages. And so for me, I think stage one would be discover, I think it's nice to know at the beginning, where are you coming from? What have you done? What singing have you done? And what have been your experiences? In other words, we sometimes carry baggage with us. Like, have you ever been criticized for your voice? Has anyone said something bad about it? Have you had a negative experience? Have you had a singing fail that kind of creates some thoughts about your own voice? I did. I went through some really dark times with my voice and felt as if I wasn't capable or wasn't born with the gift or whatever. And so we kind of bring that into our learning. And we have these attitudes, and we might think, like I did, I can't sing very high, or I can't sing a solo. I remember I said that. I'm a good choir singer, but I'm not a good soloist. I mean, those were all tapes that were playing in my head at the beginning of my learning. You need to understand that. We need to understand that we have some things playing in the background that might affect how we learn and how we see things. So I think that's like a part of like the first stage. We need to understand kind of our history, our singing background, and identify that and kind of, identify whether or not there's some negative things that we feel that might affect our learning. And this is like the first step. The first part of, and then discovering your potential. I think it's really, really important to learn kind of what your vocal type is, not kind of, to learn your vocal type. And those of you who may have followed what Power to Sing does here, is we identify your vocal type. That is, what is it that you tend to do as you sing higher? That kind of describes your vocal type. Why is that important? Because then you know what exercises to do so that you can get through the bridge. And I think that's another kind of stage one kind of thing, that you start working on those exercises as a beginning thing to start working through that middle area that causes everybody problems. So I think that's all kind of in stage one. And I kind of call that discover your potential. Stage two, guess what that is? Conquer the bridge. Stage three, start eliminating vocal weaknesses, and start working on decreasing the tension and gaining more control as you sing higher, getting more confidence singing in front of an audience. There's a couple things that you can actually identify that when you do those, you know that you're kind of making progress. Stage four, succeeding with fundamentals. And that means that not only do you get your breathing down well, and maybe your vibrato needs to be at a certain level. So you start getting these fundamentals really, really well. Stage five, you strengthen your technique. You get so good at the technique that you don't have to think about it when you're performing. And so you've got the ability to sing in the bottom, in the middle, in the bridge, up in the head voice. It's second nature to you. So it's becoming easier and easier. And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to process it while you're singing, because it's become muscle memory. And so now you start, maybe in stage five, you start working on the second bridge and the third bridge. That's the higher bridges in your voice. So, and then I've got a couple other after stage five, stage 6 and 7. Let me pause here a second and just, so I don't know if any of that sounded interesting to you or not, but okay, so several of you have commented needing to know your voice and understand it more. I think it would be really helpful to have a map or a success path that would help us, just so we could jump in and say, oh, I'm past that beginning stage one, but I know I'm in stage 2 because of this. I'm not quite to stage 3 yet. It just kind of gives you some direction of where you could go. Let me just catch up here. Len Kao says, yes, especially in the beginning, psychological feedback is crucial. And because I don't know about you, Len, but I think we can be our own worst enemies sometimes, because subconsciously we're just kind of resisting things because we have this opinion about our voices or an experience. It may not be an opinion. It might be like a real experience in the past that is affecting us. George says, when I was in the gospel choir, it affected my learning about my voice because most of the songs were sung very loudly. You cannot even hear anyone next to you to make anything harmonize. Yeah, that could be pretty intense. Daniela says, Chuck, tagging on to what you were just saying, do you believe the voice begins in the mind? Oh, I love that question. In other words, how much do you think negative thoughts play into vocal success? Curious of your thoughts. Daniela, sit right there. Don't go away. I'm going to go right here and grab a book. What do you think, Daniela? The Voice of the Mind, written by E. Herbert Chesery. And I'm told Now, this book was written in, I think he's written several books. Um, I think this book is written in the late 50s, early 60s. So it's an older book. I'm not seeing the, first published in 51, older than me. I'm told that this book, for a number of years, was used by USC, University of Southern California, in their vocal department as their book, as the book for vocal technique. And I think it's an amazing book. I've read it. You could probably open to any page here and you see I've got like underlined notes and things scribbled in the sides of the in the margins. This is a great book. Yes, the answer, Daniela, is I do. I do think that our mind has a lot to do with our singing, and in so many different levels. I think it could begin in the mind. And I do think that negative thoughts can have a huge impact on our vocal success. But I also believe that good technique will introduce your mind and body to good experiences and new sensations and new things. And so if we can get out of our way, and that's the challenge, isn't it? Get out of our negative game and allow the learning to happen, it can happen a lot faster. So that's an awesome comment, and the answer is yes. There's even a book, The Voice of the Mind. I think this thing is still in print, but it's published in England and in the UK, and this I think this thing cost me almost $100, and I bought it several years ago. Yeah, it's published in London. But this Cesare had affiliation with some of the old-time singers and teachers, and brings a lot of knowledge. Oh my gosh, so much information, great information about singing. Lynn says, I would really like to know more about cultivating a natural vibrato. I have a made vibrato. But what does a natural vibrato feel like? Okay, so Daniela says she found that book on Amazon. Great. How much is it, Daniela? Oh, the sun is going down, so I'm going down too. The sun's not going down; it's behind a cloud. I face a west window here, so I've got a shade, but to try and I don't want it to be too bright. So Daniela, is there a price on it? You want to tell us what it cost on Amazon? Yeah, I recommend it, Daniela, because you know what? This is a book that Seth Riggs recommended to me, and several other teachers that I've known, and I love it. I think it's just a great book. And $100 is worth it. That's what she said. Okay, $80 then, she says. Hey, Peter, nice to have you here. Hey, Ink King. 1:32 a.m. in the UK. Wow, you're a monster, Ink. Did you get up, or are you just like a late night guy? Anyway, Peter says, I feel my mix, but still work. I think he's probably saying it needs work. All right, so I kind of want to I thank you very much for your feedback on this success pathway. More about this will be coming forth, and probably within the next week or so, I'm going to have we're going to be doing a kind of a series of videos, and they're going to be kind of a workshop type. And one of those videos, I'm planning on spending time on this success path for singers and see if it'll help. Okay, so Let me see here. Let me try and get a couple more comments. Sorry to look away, but I'm just reading the some of the comments here to make sure I get it. Yeah, Danielle, you're welcome. I studied it. I mean, I really studied this thing. I have notes here. For example, one of the things I'll share with you right now that you wrote down at the very beginning is on page 21. He said, each individual singer is something of a law unto himself or herself. And later on, he said that every singer, whatever his category of voice, male or female, is, in a sense, a law unto himself. In view of the individual variations in the structure and the actual quality and degree of pliability and adaptability of the mobile parts concerned in the internal shaping, not all voices, indeed few do, lend themselves so readily to certain tonal nuances. Consequently, every singer must experiment on his own voice, preferably with the aid of a really knowledgeable teacher. So basically what he's saying is that everybody's different. Everybody responds differently to the same exercises. So you're essentially a law unto yourself. And as a teacher, I have to try and discover that and determine what will work for you as an individual. That's a kind of a mouthful, but all right. So Ink says he falls asleep around 4 to 5 a.m. So I'm always up at this time. Wow, Ink, you must work days, I guess, huh? I mean, or maybe late nights or something. So do you have any broadcasts with emphasis on specific genre? I haven't. Do you have any video broadcasts? I haven't, George. I'm really more interested in like teaching of getting every voice in balance, every voice to its optimal tuning, so to speak, and then and then the singer begins to work the genre part of that. But I haven't done any videos on specific genres. Ink says, I have a question off topic. In a video, I remember that you said that when you were younger, you used to think your nose was crooked, and I hated it. How did you get over it? Because I feel the same way. Well, first of all, Ink, look carefully at my nose. It is crooked. So, but it's not really, if someone studies they have to study my face to really notice it. It's not as noticeable as it used to be. But I injured it swimming, and I was trying to do a fancy dive. It's not even fancy. It's called a watermelon, at least where I'm from. And when you hit the water, you would pull your head down to your knees. You tuck up, and you pull your knees up, and it squirts some water out as you hit the water. And I hit my nose with my knee. I hit it so hard, I felt like I knocked myself out. I didn't. I was a lifeguard. We were playing. We had a break and we were just doing some diving. I kicked myself in the head. So I broke this side, or I caved this side in, and I went to see the doctor, and he put me up against the wall and went, but this cartilage is still somewhat concave now, and so that's what makes it look crooked. I don't know if it's actually crooked, but the side is kind of caved in, and so it looks like it's crooked. So now you know that personal story. Okay, so we've got just a couple minutes here, and I don't want to take more of your time, but let me just see if I can address a couple more of these questions that I have kind of passed over. So Ty asks, how can we work on tone and a better tone and pitch? Pitch sometimes is a problem because when we approach the bridge, we go flat because we can't get through the bridge. So the bridge for the guys begins at the E above middle C, typically, and at the A above middle C for the ladies. So if I can't bridge, everything goes flat because I can't get my voice through that. So, and the tone quality is also a problem because of the lack of the ability to bridge. So my recommendation is, Ty, if you haven't gotten your vocal type, you can go to power2sing.com and take the vocal test. And so that looks like this right here. Let me just put it on the screen. You can, as you go down the screen, let me see, and we're still live with audio. Okay. As you go down the screen, you see a test here. It says the power test. The video, you can watch the video and it'll explain how to take the power test. It's a vocal test. And you will, then you can take this test here, or this quiz, and answer the quiz. It didn't come out very clear here. And you can determine your vocal type with this quiz. Once you know your vocal type, then you go to the Knowledge Center on the website and watch the videos and learn more about your vocal type, and you can download specific exercises that will help you start helping you get through the bridge. So by that I mean, that's going through the E, F, F sharp without straining, cracking, or breaking. That's the #1 recommendation I have for you, Ty, in terms of working on better tone and better pitch. Because that bridging, and so I call that bridging, going through that bridge there. For the ladies, it'd be up here in the A, B flat, B, and C, same principle. So you've got to be able to go through that without cracking, breaking in the falsetto, without a wobble or anything like that. So the other, if you don't know how, then you crack into falsetto, you break into falsetto, or you go really, really light. So because that way you don't feel the bridge. So we do all these things. Now the sun is going behind the clouds again. We do all these things to get through the bridge, and so that messes our tone up, and we're inconsistent. So job 1, Ty, is to get your vocal type and then download the exercises for your vocal type. So you're very likely you're one of 3 vocal types: full chest, high larynx, or light chest, no chest, or flip falsetto. There's a 4th one called mix, and that's for people who are pretty advanced singers who can just go through the bridge, lickety split very easily, and are already mixing. Let me see if there's another question here that, yeah, Daniela, her comment about you're making progress, but there's always something else to work on, and that's true. We're always refining and improving, no matter what our level is. So there's an idea of, so my stage 6 is called Master Challenging Songs. So you challenge yourself with some songs that you never could do before by now. And in stage 7, you build your power and confidence. And it's kind of an open-ended stage at this point where you're developing vocal mastery for years. And that's very common with very high-level singers. They're always working to improve and refine. Sorry. Okay, now I'll follow up, Petros, on the orange button. Sorry that PDF is not downloading. Okay, so let me see here. If I've got any other questions here. What is vocal coaching, and does it every singer vocal teacher? So Ty, I think that the fastest results come about when you're working with a teacher. So I recommend, in my experience, I've tried to work with teachers that I know are going to help me, and I do lessons on Skype, and and you can go to my website again, powertosing.com, and go to work with me, and that under that title, it's in the menu on the top. And there's a place there you can schedule a Skype lesson, and you can see my schedule in your time zone, gives all the prices and everything, and you can schedule it when it's convenient for you. And I do that quite a bit. I just taught a lady just before this who's Amy, maybe you're watching, I don't know. Uh, she travels all over the country, and I never know where she's going to be. Today she's in Palo Alto, California. Um, but we do it over Skype. Works pretty well. So George said, "How do you tell if you're a great singer? I think there's always room to improve one." So without the label, yeah, that's a good question, and I don't know that I could just say off the cuff, but I think one hallmark, George, of being a great singer is that you can bridge. You can go through that area of your voice and get into your head voice without difficulty. That is the fundamental. So you at least have to have that. Um, oh, good. It's so good to see you again, Dana. All right. So Ty, let me tell you, I have had lessons with. I had a teacher in high school. I had teachers in college. I had. Oh gosh, it's getting so dark here. I apologize here. Let me just try and get this situated here. I'll lighten this up a little bit. I guess the time of day here is, let me just get that. There we go. That's a little bit better. I mean, it's only 6:45, but I have trees in my yard and the sun's going behind trees and clouds and things. So, but anyway, so I had lessons in college. I stopped taking lessons because I believed that I couldn't do it. I couldn't get very high in my voice, and I had some negative experiences, and I stopped studying, and I stopped singing solos, stopped for 20 years, and in 1996, I met Seth Riggs, started studying with one of his teachers. I started, and then she left town. I listened to tapes and CDs for a couple years, started studying with another teacher that was trained by Seth Riggs. In 2000, went with this gentleman into 2008, helped me tremendously. Then I started studying with other master teachers of Seth Riggs, uh, at least half a dozen of them, and I studied with Seth himself. So I have spent, safe to say, tens of thousands of dollars on my lessons for my voice through the years. And without question, it's helpful. It's a benefit, without question. PDF and description from this live. Okay, all right, got that. Um, so I think YouTube's great, and it's helping a lot of people. And I didn't have YouTube as a younger man, so I maybe would do that. But I think eventually I would like to at least have kind of a checkup lesson and see if I'm on the right track. Okay, yeah, so I'd be happy, and several of you have mentioned this, and I again, you go to powertosing.com, go to work with me, and there's a schedule Skype lessons there, or lessons in person if you come to Utah. So, so Dana, the lessons online are a little bit awkward. Because there's a delay on Skype. So I play the exercise, the singer sings it back, you know. So, but it's not bad. It helps if you could carry a tune. But I've had some of my best lessons have been that I've taken personally have been on Skype. It's kind of interesting, really, to do it a cappella because you're doing it a cappella, and I always record mine. I mean, I've got an MP3 recorder here just sitting on my piano. I take my lessons when I take them, so I've got a record of them. I, I keep a, I got lessons that I've got boxes of cassette tapes of voice lessons, and now I'm putting it on. I just keep a playlist in iTunes. Okay, so George, one comment I wanted to make about singing in a choir is a little bit different than singing solo. Now it sounds like your gospel choirs are even more different because they sing loud. A lot of choirs that I've been in, they want you to blend with everybody else, you know, and not stand out. So that's not your experience. That's my experience. So yeah, and so little Jada Bunny, I do work with people who's had like nodules and things like that. So Ty asked, my voice is weird if I had a high pitch singing voice naturally. I'm trying to find my low voice and talk at the same time. And do you know what I mean? So another aspect of these exercises, Ty, is the larynx dropping, coming down. And so rather than speaking up here, my voice is down here. And somewhat due to the fact that the larynx is staying down. So if the larynx goes up, then the voice goes up and it kind of gets a higher pitch. But if it comes back down here, then this is where you want to speak and this is where you want to sing. So the vocal exercises that I referred you to will actually benefit you. So anyway, it looks like I'm pretty well caught up on the questions um, and any other comments here. Let me just drop back down to the bottom. A record of the lessons, such a great idea. Yeah, you know what, Dana, I go back. There's a couple lessons back to 2011 that I did. I reviewed 2 weeks or last week, and I sang along with that lesson. It was kind of like a breakthrough lesson for me, and I still do it. It's a treasure. Okay, so George is getting to the bridge. Awesome. Ty Wilson, I want to learn and be able to bounce. I want to be able to know how to bounce to note to note. Lower a high song. Not sure what you mean. Let me just see here. Chuck, do you think the best way to get to the bridge is to lower song in your comfortable range and make it higher and higher as you're more comfortable? No, Ink, it's not. It's to face it straight out. Because lowering it just means you're going to be working in chest, and so you're strengthening chest. It's best to just do the exercises as demonstrated, as we're all been taught, and that's the best and fastest way. I mean, even doing this is a huge step forward. Huge step forward. MJ Alex says, well, let me see. Sounds like me when I send up the key part of the band on the run. And I sing up the key part. I'm kind of missing that. Well, the rain exploded. Well, the rain exploded with a mighty crash. We fell into the sun. Okay, I'm probably missing out on some of that. Okay, so thanks, everybody. Let's call it a night here. I appreciate so much this spending time with you. And thanks for your input and feedback on a success path. I think it might be of benefit to try and come up with something that singers can use to determine where they're at on their trip, you know, on their learning process. Where have they come from? Where are they at right now? And where are they going in the future? that maybe will be of help. And I'll let you know more about that as we go along within the next week or so, I'm hoping. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been a delight to talk with you, and I hope this has been of benefit to you as it has to me. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I'll see you inside the next video. Thanks, everybody. Got to turn off this little streamer here. See you next time.